Hello, Mrs. Ehlke here. Today I'm working with
me, Ian.
And Ian has been reading and watching the Harry Potter movies and books and is really enjoying them. So he wanted to do a character from that. Who did you pick this time?
Voldemort.
Lord Voldemort. We went evil. So here are our Voldemort pictures. If you want to try your hand at a portrait of Lord Voldemort, follow along and see how it works for you. All right? Thanks for watching, guys.
Goodbye.
To create our Voldemort drawing, we are going to start with the top of his bald head. Okay? And we want the bald head to be centered in the picture and kind of about a little bit bigger than our fingertips, yes? So if it helps, you can even make a dot at the top of your hand and then a dot kind of on the side here and on the other side like that. And then we can connect them with a curved line to make the top part of Voldemort's head. He's got a nice bald head, which makes it easy because then we don't have to draw hair, yes? Mm-hmm. All right, for the bottom of his head, we're gonna go about the same distance down. This is where his chin's gonna be. And it's not quite as round on the bottom as it is on the top. So I wanna try to keep my bottom a little bit more angled like this, and then it'll connect up to the other part of his head. So it'll come down and it'll come over a little bit more of at an angle. Then I'm going to do two lines coming down here, really short. This is going to be where his neck begins, but his clothes are so high up you don't actually see much of his neck. So we're going to take this down almost to a point. It's going to be a little bit rounded like that. And then I'm going to go back up to where the neck starts, and I'm going to create another line that kind of goes down at an angle and then over to the side, and that will be kind of where his shoulders go. All right, time to add some facial features. So usually the eyes are about in the center of the head. So I'm going to start about halfway down here, and I'm going to make two lines that just go across like this to show kind of where the top parts of his eyes go. Yep. And then I'm going to curve those lines down just a little bit on the right sides and the left side. Yep. And then I'm also going to curve them down a little bit like this on the inside where the nose would begin. He has kind of a weird nose. We'll get to that later. That's kind of the area where his eyes are. Now his actual eyes are kind of normal shapes. So I'm going to start by adding these curved lines that are kind of tucked in under this area. And then I'll add another curved line to the bottom of those. And then he has blue eyes too, so we'll make the eyeball just kind of sitting out in there on both sides. I'll also make the black part of his eye, and I'll actually color that in except for a little white dot that I'm going to leave along the top. So it almost looks like a little U. And then after I make the U or the horseshoe, I just kind of fill it in a little bit, leaving a little bit of white open at the top so that it looks like a highlight in his eyes. Very good. All right, halfway between his eyes and his chin, we're going to have maybe about where the bottom of his nose would be, but we're not going to put a line where the bottom would be because his nose is kind of weird. Instead, I'm going to put two dots. This is about where the nose goes. It's halfway between the eyes and the chin. And one dot's going to kind of go up to the right, and one dot's going to kind of go up to the left. He's got that weird nose. Then I'm going to make kind of a curved line that comes down on each side like that. And then it connects to the cheeks. So those lines kind of show where the nose stops and the cheeks begin. His mouth is going to be between the nose and the chin. So I'm just going to make kind of a straight line because he's not a very happy guy for the middle of his mouth. And then I'll add a little bit to the lips. There's the bottom lip and then the top lip too. Now a couple more facial features to make him look a little bit stronger here. I want to add a curved line right above the chin. What are you laughing at? He's got some big lips. That's okay. He still looks like Voldemort. I'm also going to add a little bit more of a line kind of underneath the eye here, just to kind of make him look a little older. And then of course he needs ears. So the ears usually match about where the eyes are, a little bit lower here. I'm going to start by making an angled line up on both sides. I'm going to have it curve around and come down on both sides. And then it'll angle back in towards the center. All right, and then details on the ears. I usually like to make a line that comes up like this and goes down. And then I start right by the face and curve out and come in again. Curve out, come in. And then he has a little mark that kind of comes down like this too. All right, let's see. The only other things I want to do, I might add just a little bit of a line up here because his eyebrow bone is kind of strong, but he doesn't really have strong eyebrows. And then I'm going to add a little line down by his neck for his Adam's apple. I'm also going to add a couple lines coming up from his lips and going down from his lips too. And then I'm going to color. So his clothing is super dark. His face is super light. It's not even a regular face color. So he's kind of a tricky one to color in. I'm probably going to mix a little bit of like a face color with a little bit of like a blue too, because he's kind of got this bluish tone. I'm going to start by using like a regular peachish color along his forehead.
Should I use this?
That's perfect, yep. And I'll do a little bit kind of coming down by his nose too. And right under his eyes, I'll make that a little bit darker too. But a lot of the rest of this is kind of a bluish tint, so it's kind of a crazy, not a normal face that you'd be making. I will add some of this color to the ears as well. Yep, and then add some to the ears, some of that lighter color. All right, next we're gonna switch to some light blue, and I'm gonna try to color pretty light with it. But I want to add some blue to his face. So I'm going to start by just kind of going real light along the edges here. And then also pretty light right above where his eyebrows are. I know it's kind of weird to be making blue on a face, but he's got this kind of cold look. And blue's good to add kind of a cold look to his face.
It's like his veins.
Yeah, that too. We can go pretty dark, especially like right under where his eyes are. And then all the area down here is pretty blue too. And you can kind of mix a little bit in with the peachy color. And just add some of that in there too. It's just kind of a weird...
Yeah, because it's all not peach.
Yeah, it's a weird face color.
It's more bluish.
Bluish. And then I think I'm going to use a little bit of brown too. Maybe like a lighter brown, and I'm going to add some of that also, like especially right above where his eyes are, because I want that to be nice and dark.
You already colored that?
I started, yeah, a little bit.
Oh, I didn't see that.
I'll darken by some of the ears. So I'm just finding a couple areas that are super dark that I could darken with a brown. So maybe use like your lighter brown there and find some areas that could be darker. I'm going especially around his eyes because those are in shadow. Trying to add some of that shadow in there. Trying to add a shadow kind of by where his nose is. On the sides of his face, it's a little bit darker. So just trying to look for areas that I can go a little bit darker. I'm also going to add a little bit around his neck because that would be under his chin, so that would be a little bit darker as well. I'm going to put the same brown actually on his lips too, so that way when we add like a pink or a red, it won't be like lipstick. The brown will kind of help tone it down, right? We don't want him to look like he has lipstick on. Is that funny? So I'm going to add a tiny bit of pink to his lip area with the brown, and that'll just kind of make it look more like lip color. Brown is a great way, especially on guys, to kind of tone down the color on the lips. And then the only other color I think I want to add to his face, we have to do his eyes still, is purple. He's got kind of this purplish tint too, so I just want to throw in a little bit of purple as well. Yeah, something like that would work. And I'm just kind of blending it in, especially like in the sides of his bald head. And then like by his cheeks, just kind of adding an extra color makes it a little bit more interesting too. I'm looking for kind of darker areas, like under his chin would be good for some purple. The sides of his nose. Just to kind of darken things up. And then I'm actually going to take my purple and go real lightly across the entire eye because it's in shadow, so it wouldn't be super bright. And then I also need some blue for his eyeball. I forgot to color that in later. I'm going to do, this one's called Blueberry Blue.
Blueberry.
For his blue eye. And I'm picking, it's kind of dark just because his eye is in shadow. Ooh, he's looking scary.
Should I do this one?
Sure.
Agent A.
Try it out for his eyes. And then his coat is dark. I started with a little bit of blue, but I just wanted to use something super dark. So you could use kind of mixtures of blue and gray or blue and brown. If you have black, that might be good too. I actually don't have, you have the black. I might steal your black first, quick.
Okay.
And we will add some color into his clothes because he is dark, evil Voldemort. And you can go all the way down, or you can just kind of suggest where his clothes are. I do want to blend. You can see where my blue and my black are is way more interesting than where just my black is by itself. So it is kind of good to mix and match a couple different colors just to make it a little bit more interesting. There's your black. I'm going to add some more blue now to the rest of mine just to make it so it's not so dull. Pushing down pretty hard so that I get some interesting colors. Definitely don't want to mess with this guy. He's pretty creepy looking. Ian, do you have a favorite Harry Potter movie? Or book?
I like either 5th or 4th.
Yeah. You like the tournament, of course, in the 4th because it's sports. That's exciting.
Yeah.
And then what do you like about the 5th one, the Order of the Phoenix? It's kind of when Voldemort actually starts really coming out, right?
Yeah, I like the ending.
The ending?
Yeah.
We better not give it away in case people haven't seen it yet, huh?
And I like the Hagrid's brother.
Ah, sure. All right, did you have black? Are you going to use that? And I think we're looking pretty good. The face is definitely looking creepy. All right. If you want to, you can always kind of go in again with the skin color, the peach kind of color. It actually blends kind of nicely with the blue, makes some interesting colors. But he definitely looks scary. We can tell he looks like Lord Voldemort.